but the solution to the overload episodes is not to fix the episode. It's to slowly chip away at the fuel for the episode.
Right.
Right. So, and the more that you look at like how your mind makes it your fault, is your mind making it your fault here? When you're listening to me, is it doing something?
No, I'm just listening.
Okay.
I'm thinking about when I have the episodes that usually something triggers it, right? So I've done something where, as you said, where I feel like I was in the wrong.
Yep,
and
there it
kind
is.
Of spirals into No, okay.
Yeah, right. You could tell me more. But you see how like what triggers the episode is the idea that you've done something wrong, and what's fucked up is you probably didn't even do anything wrong. And so what I'm saying is, if you want to conquer the episode, so I want everyone to understand this. People come to me and they say, how do I put out the fire? My house is burning down. Every week it burns down. And what I say is, don't try to put out the fire, put out the match. Put out the match that gets you started. And like, because people look at this and it's kind of bizarre, but like, it's way easier to put out a match than it is to put out the fire once it's started. And so once you get into that overload mode, it's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of work to kind of wrap that in. But what I'm telling you, and this is when I think about, when I've helped people who have like panic attacks and stuff to the point where they're like off of medication, they're basically, they're not really cured, but in psychiatry, we don't cure anyone. We have something called sustained remission, which means that they don't have any symptoms for a long period of time, but we don't cure anyone because we can't do that. Fine. So when I see patients with sustained remission, the way that I get there is I get them to put out the match. You go to the root of it and you pull out the root, and all of the subsequent behaviors will come crumbling down.
So would you say the way to find the match would just to be recognized in it when it happens? Or
absolutely. Because you said it gets triggered by what, Nicholas?
By me blaming myself, basically.
There it is.
Yeah. So the hard part at that point, I would say, is just to stop the thoughts from rolling in.
Nope, you can't stop them. Nope, that's not acceptance.
Right.
See, that's what you try to do.
Okay, fair enough.
I would bet money.
Fair enough.
I would bet money that you fight against them. You fight against them with every fiber of your being. And the more you fight them, the more they grow.
That's right.
Right? So I want you to imagine this. I want you guys to think about your thoughts like water. And the harder you hit it, like if I jump off of a 100-foot diving board and I make myself flat and I smack into water, it's hard like concrete. The harder I push against it, the harder it pushes back. If I'm in a bathtub, or if I'm in the ocean, let's say a bathtub, if I'm in the bathtub and there are too many waves in the bathtub, and I push against the waves, what happens?
Well, they push back.
Absolutely. Right. And so that's what you do. When those thoughts come, what do, Nicholas?
I push back.
And then what do they do?
Well, they push back harder. So
then what do?
Yeah. Push back. Yeah, back and forth.
And then you hit overload.
Right.
You see that? It's an escalating cycle until you're tired of pushing back. You're physically exhausted. You just lay back. They hammer you for a while and then they stop. And then you crawl out of the tub and you're numb for 2 or 3 days because you're exhausted from all this cognitive activity. So acceptance is laying back